What is nothing? The simplest of words, yet the most elusive. A void, an absence, a space that seems so clear, yet is shrouded in the deepest mystery. We think we understand it, yet do we? What would it mean if there was nothing at all? No sound, no light, no life, no objects, no time, just emptiness, a vacuum of unimaginable proportions. Is it even possible to truly understand such a thing? Or is it beyond the reach of our minds, something that defies the very nature of existence? The concept of nothing has haunted humanity for millennia. It's been the subject of philosophers, scientists, and dreamers, all attempting to uncover its true meaning. But despite our best efforts, nothing still remains a mystery. So, where do we begin? Perhaps, like all great mysteries, we start at the beginning with a void. To grasp this abstract concept, let's use an analogy. Imagine a book. A book contains words, sentences, and stories. Now, imagine erasing all the ink from the pages. You're left with blank paper, but the book still exists. Take it further. Imagine the paper disintegrates into dust, and the dust scatters into the wind. Is the book gone? Physically, yes, but the idea of the book, its potential to exist, still lingers. The earliest ideas of nothingness come from the ancient Greeks. The world they knew was a place of gods, myths, and stories that stretched across time. But even in their fantastical world, they had to confront the idea of what came before creation. What was there before the world was born? In the beginning, there was chaos. Not chaos in the sense of destruction, but in its truest form, an infinite void, formless and empty. It was from this chaos that the world was born, and the gods took their place in the heavens. But the Greeks understood that this void was not just a space of emptiness. It was a potential, a place where all things could emerge. As time moved forward, the concept of nothing began to evolve. Philosophers like Parmenides and Heraclitus pondered whether nothingness could exist at all. Parmenides believed that true nothingness was impossible, because if nothing existed, how could we even talk about it? How could we describe it, think about it, or understand it? But Heraclitus had a different view. He believed that everything was in a constant state of flux, a flow from one thing to another. For him, nothingness was simply the absence of form, a state where change had yet to take place. These early thinkers were the first to realize something profound. The concept of nothing is inseparable from the world we know. We cannot fully understand the void unless we understand what it means in relation to the somethingness that surrounds us. Fast forward to the 20th century, and we find ourselves at the intersection of science and nothingness. Physics, in its quest to understand the fundamental forces of the universe, began to unravel a new understanding of the void. What if there was something hidden in the emptiness? What if nothing was not really nothing at all? Nothingness in the context of our space is a deeply philosophical and scientific question that challenges our fundamental understanding of the universe. Here's a breakdown of how nothing relates to space and time. In classical physics, nothing was often defined as an absolute void, an empty space where no matter, energy, or forces existed. Space, in this context, was simply the stage where physical events occurred. If we imagine a nothing in this classical sense, it would be a region of space with no matter, no light, and no energy. It would be completely devoid of everything. No stars, no planets, no fields, and no forces. However, this classical view has been dramatically changed by the developments in modern physics. Albert Einstein's theory of general relativity revolutionized our understanding of space and time. According to this theory, space and time are not separate entities, but are intertwined into a four-dimensional fabric called spacetime. Spacetime is not just a passive stage on which objects move. It is an active, dynamic entity that can bend and warp under the influence of mass and energy. In Einstein's view, space and time are not fixed or absolute. Instead, they are shaped by the presence of matter and energy. When we talk about nothing in this framework, we are referring to the absence of matter and energy. However, even in the absence of matter, space-time itself is still there. It's a continuous field that can be curved and stretched. So, even in a nothing scenario of vacuum, space-time itself exists and can be influenced by things like gravity or dark energy. For instance, black holes are regions where space-time curves so intensely that nothing can escape, not even light. So, nothing in this context is not a complete absence of space-time. It's a state where space-time is being influenced by extreme forces. Quantum mechanics takes our understanding of nothing even further. In the quantum realm, the idea of nothing doesn't truly exist in the way we might think. The vacuum of space, the empty space between particles, is not actually empty. Instead, it's filled with quantum fields that are in constant fluctuation. Even when no particles are present, these fields experience quantum fluctuations, a kind of bubbling of energy where particles appear and disappear. These fluctuations occur even in the vacuum state, the lowest possible energy state, which we would traditionally consider nothing. The vacuum energy is a kind of background energy that exists even in the emptiest parts of space. This quantum, nothing, is a far cry from the classical idea of an empty void. Thus, in quantum mechanics, nothing is a seething, fluctuating field of energy, full of potential and activity. It's far from being truly empty. At the largest scales, the universe itself is expanding and the very fabric of space-time is stretching. This expansion is not into nothing in the traditional sense, but into a form of empty space that is still governed by quantum fluctuations and cosmic energy. Dark energy, which is believed to make up about 70% of the universe's energy content, is driving this accelerated expansion of the universe. This mysterious energy exists even in the most empty regions of space. In this view, nothing in the cosmos is a complex, dynamic entity. It's not just an absence of matter or energy, but a state that is filled with the potential for creation, expansion, and fluctuation. Some theories even suggest that the universe could have emerged from nothing, that is, from a quantum fluctuation in the fabric of space-time itself. This idea challenges our conventional notion of creation and nothingness. But let's take a step back. What about our personal experience of nothing? In the quiet of the night, when the world is still and we are left alone with our thoughts, we sometimes encounter a sense of emptiness. The silence, the void, the space where nothing seems to matter. This experience of nothing is a deeply human one. It's the feeling of loss, of longing, of being disconnected from everything around us. We may feel it when we lose someone close to us, or when we find ourselves standing at the edge of an uncertain future. It's the moment when we question the very meaning of existence, and we find ourselves face to face with the void. Is this feeling of nothingness just a reflection of our inner emptiness? Or is it something deeper, something tied to the very nature of life itself? Across different cultures, nothingness has been seen in many different lights. In some traditions, it is a place of meditation and stillness, a space where the mind can quiet itself and find peace. In others, it's a source of fear, a void to be avoided at all costs. In Buddhist philosophy, for example, the concept of shunyata or emptiness plays a central role. It is the understanding that all things are impermanent, that nothing in the universe is fixed or permanent. Emptiness is not to be feared, but embraced, as it represents the potential for change, growth, and transformation. For others, nothingness is a symbol of death, the ultimate end, the final resting place of the soul. It is a void that can never be crossed, a place of eternal silence. But even in this view, there's something powerful about the idea of nothingness. It forces us to confront our own mortality, to reflect on the meaning of life itself. So, what is nothing? Is it the void we imagine when we close our eyes? Or is it something far more complex? Is it the emptiness we feel inside, or the endless stretch of space beyond our world? Perhaps the answer lies not in the concept of nothing itself, but in how we, as human beings, interact with it. Maybe it is our very existence that gives meaning to the void. After all, in the silence, we find the potential for thought. In the emptiness, we discover the possibility for creation. And in the face of nothingness, we are reminded of the most profound truth of all, that even in the darkest of voids, there is always the potential for something new to emerge. So, nothing is not the end. It is the space where everything begins. Every great idea was born from silence. Every masterpiece started with a blank canvas. Every new chapter of life begins in the unknown. So if you ever feel lost, if the emptiness feels too heavy, remember this. Nothingness is not your enemy. It is possibility. It is the pause before transformation, the breath before creation. Even the stars were once scattered dust, floating in the void, waiting for their moment to shine. And just like them, so will you. Because in the end, even nothing can become something beautiful. If you found this journey into the unknown meaningful, consider subscribing to So Classic. Here, we explore the timeless stories that connect the past, present, and future. Join us, and let's continue discovering the wonders of the universe together.